What's up? So I am never on YouTube, except for the many times that I'm looking up camera tutorials and watching student short films. But I thought that it would be kind of fun to document this little series of discovering and learning and understanding this recent pot of gold that I've come upon. And that pot of gold is my grandfather's old antique cameras. What? So I was in Chattanooga and I asked about cameras because I've recently acquired an Olympus OM10, which I've been shooting some Kodak film on, and it's been super fun. And so I was like, I need to ask my grandfather, I need to ask my pops about if he has any of these film cameras. And he brings in, like, it was Christmas morning, like 6 of these awesome, beautiful antique cameras that I had never seen or really known about. And so I'm just going to do this series for myself to be able to document learning and understanding these awesome cameras and taking some cool photos, potentially, if I can get them to work. So, first up, we have the Baby Rolleiflex. And so this is a twins lens reflex camera, a TLR camera. And Rolleiflex is the name of the brand that produced this camera. It's circa 1920s. This company called Frankie and Hideki, I don't know if I'm saying that right, started making these cameras, these TLR cameras. And so I am on YouTube, and I'm just researching how to operate this camera, all the different things, the history, all the things. But I can't find anything about this make of this camera. And then I figured out that it's actually a baby version of the camera. So it's called the Rolly Baby, which is so cute. It's so cute. Also, going back to just some quick history facts about this camera, this baby, is, like I was saying, the company Rolleiflex started making the cameras circa 1920s, and then they came out with this baby, frick me.
And particularly the twin lens reflex idea. Now, this little model is what we know as a baby Rolleiflex, and a grey baby at that. And they made them from 1957 until about 1963, the grey ones, but they carried on with black ones until about 1968.
1957 to 63. Oh, there's a freaking wasp. There's a wasp. Anyways, but the gray Baby Rolleiflex was made from about 1957 to 63, and then they continued on with the black version of this until about 68, and then they stopped making them. So this is super old, like 65 years. That's crazy. It's crazy. So when I start operating this camera, not if, when, because I'm gonna get that film, put it in there, take some photos. I don't even know if it's gonna take photos, but it's really cool, and it's still important to learn about, even if it's not necessarily usable. We're just gonna have to wait and find out, Wait and see. This is, like I was saying, TLR 4x4, which just means, it captures like the square film images, and it also takes this really old film that's not in production anymore, 127 film. There's a lot of cameras that it's easier to acquire 120 film. 127 has been quite a journey that I've embarked on. I went to this local film photography store today to get some new Kodak film for my grandfather's old Pentax, which that'll be coming later in the series. Get excited. But they didn't have any 127. So I've been researching, on the Google, looking at different online film services that will ship that kind of film to me. It's really interesting because it is in very low demand because it hasn't been made in a long time. And if we're going to get in how to operate this baby, look at the body of it. I mean, the lenses, so it has 2 lenses, okay? And that's why it's called twins lens reflex camera. And the bottom lens, if I'm understanding it right, is the one that exposes the film. So when you press the shutter, this bottom lens will expose the film. This top lens is the viewing lens. So when you're watching what you're through the viewfinder, which is kind of cool, we'll get into that in a second, you'll be able to see the image through this lens. So operating this camera, it honestly took me a second. It looks pretty complex, you know. It's got these 2 levers, or I guess they're not really levers, they're just little cranks. They're winding cranks. But it's quite a cool contraption. To be able to see the image that you're taking, the viewfinder is actually located. What? That's so cool. Up here. So what you do is you open this. And now we're staring at the top of my house, the ceiling right now. Anyway, so you look down through here, and now I can see you guys. Isn't that so cool? So if you look through there, we can point it that way. That's sky. And if you can see correctly, that's the door. Really cool, right? Because the lens is pointing towards the door, which is right there. There's also handy dandy microscope glass that you can pop out. So if I kind of just press down right there, little glass, it comes out, you know, so you can see the image even better at a microscopic level. Anyway, so when I'm looking down, what I'm seeing is through this lens right here. And then to close it, kind of just press the sides. Isn't that so great? It's so great, right? Anyway, so to be able to insert film, we're gonna go to the bottom of the camera. So the bottom of the camera has this arrow, which is really nice. So then, you know, if you have poor memory like me, it kind of directs you the way to go. This thing right there, we're gonna push it to the side. That it's latched on to the back. So we're opening that latch, and then opening the back. Look at that! Look at that! So cool, right? So anyways, now that we're looking in the back of the camera, this is where we're going to insert our film. I don't have the film with me right now, but I will. I honestly have like $15 in my bank account right now. But when I get my check from work, I'm going to order that film. Anyway, so here we got this red arrow, okay? So we're going to push that arrow. Out pops the spool where we're going to insert our film. Okay, so we're going to take the spool. We're going to attach it to, one second, I got to focus. That thing right there, okay? Press it down and then it'll go back in the camera. Anyways, so when I get my hands on some of this ancient 127 film, we're going to figure this out together. Because, you know, I'm figuring it out. I might sound educated. I'm really not. The only thing that's educating me is these YouTube videos of the real experts. So I might be saying a bunch of bull right now. I have literally no idea. Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, but from my understanding, you know, is we're going to put the... Yeah, I honestly figuring it out, but pretty sure that you put the canister of film right there. We're going to take the film, put it into that sprocket right there. And yeah, super cool. And then the shutter, I'm actually just going to place this back here though right now because we don't have the film with us, unfortunately. Is this lever. That'll advance the film. And when the film's advanced, here we got our nifty, can you see the 0? Let's talk exposure triangle. ISO, aperture, shutter speed. How do we control it on this camera? Well, I actually just found a manual online, which is so great because I have no idea how I would figure these things out if I didn't have a manual. So I was doing some reading, and here we got, so obviously the ISO, that's just whatever your film canister will read, okay? So if I put in 127 200 ISO film into this camera, there's a dial on the left side of this camera that can remind me what the ISO is, but that dial won't change the exposure of the film. It'll just make sure, it'll help me remember what kind of film I inserted into the camera. So that's right here. Come on, focus. It's right here, okay? Do you see how that number's turning right there? So I can turn that number, and so say I put an ISO 200 film, then I can just set it on where it'll read 200. So I can remember that. And then aperture and shutter speed are controlled right next to the taking lens. So the bottom lens is a taking lens. So on this side, next to the taking lens, we have right here, it says B. B stands for bulb, which is just another way to let us know that it's talking about shutter speed. The max shutter speed on this is 1/500th of a second, and you can change that by simply rotating this right here. There's a little white arrow that will let you know which aperture and shutter speed it's set at. And then on the inside, those are your apertures. And the max aperture on this is 3.5. So there you go. That's gonna control your depth of field, you know? What I think is really cool about this camera as well is on the back. Thanks to the manual, gave me a pretty nifty explanation. It looks like this. But it's just giving you different landscapes and telling you what you need to set your numbers at, man. Awesome. This is your shutter. So when you have film inserted, take your photo right there. Jeez. Thanks for coming along with me. Oh, there's a bug. Oh, it's a wasp. I gotta go.